Just.
I drank tea when I was young, but didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't when you're young. The tea is bitter for you. Your taste buds a little sensitive. So, but I really started to appreciate tea when I was about 25 years ago or so. When I was 18, 19 years old. Well, of course, first, like most people, first of all, I was attracted to the fragrance, the exotic flavors. My friend had just returned from China and gave me some white tea from Putování. It had just been picked like 2 weeks previous and was extremely fragrant. And I loved it so much I actually carried it around in my pocket. And in between, I was a student, so between classes I was taking the bag out and smelling it. And then I called him like a week later to ask him why the smell had decreased. And he said, well, what are you doing? And I explained, and he said, well, you keep opening it like that, and the freshness will go away. But I really fell in love with it. And also, of course, for me, I practice meditation. So that friend, we were in a meditation retreat together. He had just come back from China. We sat meditation retreat, and he gave me that tea. And I immediately fell in love. I loved everything about it. I loved the history. I was very interested in China and Chinese folklore and history and culture. So there was that aspect. I liked the flavors and aromas and fragrances. I fell in love with them. And then ultimately the way that it influenced my meditation, the way that it helped my meditation and was also in itself meditative. The preparation of the tea. And, so immediately I was head over heels in love. I'm still very much a student. Sometimes I go to tea places or I go to tea regions and meet some farmers and things, and just realize just how huge tea is and how deep it goes, and how much I have yet to learn, so much more. Even when it came time for me to start teaching, I was in the beginning very reluctant to do so, because I realized, because I felt like, who am I to teach anyone? I have so much to learn myself. I still feel that way today, I still feel that way now. But I realized eventually, partly my teacher helped me, but I came to realize that, I'm always going to have that feeling my whole life. And if you don't share and help pass it on, because you're waiting to reach some plateau or something, then you'll never share and pass it on. So I did start, and then new lessons of course come in the teaching of tea as well, and sharing with others. But I think tea is a path of being a student. It's oriented in this way. It's a path of humility, of learning, of surrender to tea as plant medicine, and also just all the information and practice that there is. So there's a lifetime, really, in it, and I'm still in love after all these years. It's like a wonderful marriage. It just grows deeper every year, and we don't grow apart. We don't fight. We don't get estranged. We just fall more and more in love as the years go by. One of the things that tea has taught me in my life is to adore, honor, and appreciate the ordinary. So a lot of life, most of our life, in fact, is ordinary. So it doesn't matter how you define yourself. If you say, I'm an artist, I'm a painter, and that's what I am, at the end of your life, you'll still spend far more time walking and brushing your teeth and putting on shoes and cooking than you will painting. And all of those things will influence how you paint, and your paint will influence those things. I practice being present and being in the moment, and I practice also opening my heart and being more compassionate and in service of others. And so tea is a big part of my practice, and my teachers, there are three in my life, two that are related to tea. So actually my Zen master also, because I am ordained Zen monk or priest, however you want to put it, and he also was a tea man. And in our center / monastery, we practiced tea at least weekly, but sometimes there would be periods where we did it every day. So, and then my tea teacher, he also is my Gongfu tea teacher. He also practices Tai Chi, and he's very much an embodiment of a lot of the Taoist and Zen principles that I aim to cultivate in my life. So I don't think that it's necessary always to think that we become more spiritual by doing a particular activity more, like more yoga, more meditation, but rather, if you really want to be more spiritual, start doing more of your activities in your life in a spiritual way, like brushing your teeth, and this is where tea can help. It facilitates mindfulness of the movements of your body. It also facilitates stillness. It is a movement to the heart, and it also, of course, facilitates heart space. The aspect of tea that everyone understands. Not everyone thinks tea is a meditation. Not everyone understands tea as plant medicine or nature, but what makes tea the second most consumed substance on this planet, what everyone understands, from Morocco to England, from grannies to construction workers to monks, what everyone understands is that tea is kindness. Tea is hospitality. When you come into homes around the world, you're served tea, and it's to welcome you. It's warm and it's free and it's kind, and it's civilization. It's a time to sit and be and connect with other people. And so tea is very much that for me too. It's an act of kindness. It's compassion. It's a hospitality for others. That in itself is a practice. And in our tradition, we have a saying that we don't learn how to make tea. We learn how to serve tea. So we are also practicing service to others. Peace, sharing peace through tea, awakening harmony through tea. These are my aims. Not to create some kind of esoteric interpretation of tea, or tea as otherworldly anything. I mean, one of the great joys and pleasures and loves and beauties of tea, in fact, one of the things that's most spiritual about it is that it's ordinary, is that it's everyday, is that anyone can take it. If I give you a bowl of tea, you could say, I don't want any more, Wu. But you can't say, I don't agree with that tea, or I don't believe in it, right? There's nothing to believe in, there's nothing to agree with. It's just tea, and I made it with my heart. I made it with as much focus and attention and mindfulness and heart and love I could for you. So it has everything I want to say in it, and I don't need to add dimensions to that. Because I'm practicing that in all my affairs, of course I approach tea that way. It doesn't mean that everyone has to approach tea that way. It doesn't mean I always approach tea that way. I also enjoy tea drinking. I enjoy a good conversation. I enjoy discussing tea and drinking it and learning about it and all the geeky stuff. I'm as big of a tea geek as anybody. I love the history of I Ching. I love talking about oolong processing. I love all that stuff. But I also approach tea in this way because it's who I am. So it's really more about that I approach tea this way, because this is a big part of who I am. And I'm not alone. For thousands of years, people have approached tea this way. So there's a very good reason why we approach tea this way, and it's to do with tea, the nature of tea itself, and what it is as a plant, and what it does to our bodies. And for my first 10 years of tea drinking, that was my experience too, wandering around and finding that the Cultural Revolution had kind of ended it all, and that there was not any lineages left, but there is.
Some? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
There are teachers left preserving the old ways. Let's put it that way. There are, and those traditions are though difficult to find. Though it's not as easy as it would have been a long time ago, because, as you said, a lot of that was dispersed, and you certainly won't find that in China. Right, so the places where that would be possible would be Taiwan, Hong Kong, or Malaysia. My teacher is Malaysian Chinese, okay, and his teacher is Malaysian Chinese, and then the third teacher up actually is Zhen Manqing, is Taiwanese guy, and then he was born in China. He went to China. He went to Taiwan in '49, and he himself is from the area where, Gongfu tea is south of China. So Fujian, Chaozhou, Guangzhou. These are the areas that Gongfu tea was a regional tea brewing method, right? So, yeah, the tradition goes back right there. And there are those kind of practicing traditional ways of tea brewing, but it's difficult to find in China because of that cultural revolution and because of people leaving. And it's good that there's people like this who are trying to revitalize some stuff. In Zen, we have, my teacher used to say something really good. In Zen, there are only masters, and I believe the same is true of tea. In Zen, the only masters are the ones who have died. All the rest of us alive, we are students. So maybe some people, they call me a master or something, or they make an event like this, but that's certainly not how I feel, and we don't blast that from our center as much as possible. If people want to call me that after I'm dead, then fine. But while I'm alive, I hope on the last day that I'm alive, I'm still learning about tea, I'm still learning about Zen and about practice, so there's a long way to go for me, of course. The vision is, the fact of the matter is there's just too much commoditization in tea. There's too much business and not enough education, and even the education is caught up in business. And it's not that I'm opposed to tea business. If there weren't tea merchants, where would I myself get my tea? I'm quite happy. There's a lot of great tea merchants, and you can learn a lot from them. It's not a black and white issue, but there's a need for well, take filming, for example. Would you want to go to a film school that was started, operated, and controlled by a brand of camera like Canon or Nikon or Sony? Of course not. You wouldn't want a film school that was supported by a company. So, there's a need for unbiased education. There's a need for true education in the spirit of what tea really is, which is leaves, water, and heat shared between spirits, between people. The free giving of stuff. So our center is a free tea school, and all room and board, all teachings, all tea, all food is free. We have 500 plus guests a year, and they, eventually when we build the new center, we're going to move into course schedules. So there'll be all courses for the whole year on all kinds of tea topics, taught not only by me but by other teachers as well. So this is going to be the world's first best tea center, architected from the ground up to be a tea center. So the rooms are going to be designed perfectly with learning in mind, right? And learning from, I said earlier that the only masters are those who have passed away, and that the living ones, we are all students. But if we're gonna have masters in tea, then it would have to be the farmers. They're the ones making the leaf. They're the ones, especially the good ones. So we want to bring some of them in, and we have the teachings and other teachers as well. So the aim is to create a space for tea education that's not affiliated with any industry or business or financial motivation of any kind. Just kindness, and and to also include holistically along. This is something that's been lost. It's not like that this separation needs to be there, like we spoke about earlier, right? To include holistic education, so not just history, not just processing information, but also cultivation, self-improvement. Tea is a practice. Tea is a practice, and there's an old Chinese saying I like a lot. The student asks the master how to brush the perfect scroll of calligraphy, and the master says, perfect yourself and paint naturally. And the same is true of a cup of tea. The one making the tea is more important than the tea or the teaware. And so you perfect yourself and brew naturally, and you will make nice tea. But that requires cultivation. It requires cultivation, and the thing is, tea can help with that cultivation and be a part of that cultivation. So self-improvement, self-healing, growth, becoming better people, this is what we all need. It's what we need as individuals, it's what we need as a species, it's what we need for the world. And I think that tea can be very instrumental in those changes, and that's what we're trying to create with this center, is just free education. And same with our magazine, Global Tiat. It's spreading around the world now, 40 countries, and the magazine's donation-based. There's no advertisements in it. There never will be. The magazine is 100% ad-free, and all of our past issues are on our website for free. So if you can't afford to join, or you can't join, go read them. They are there, or you join now, you want to back read, they're there, along with hundreds of videos to learn from, and et cetera, et cetera. So our aim is to educate free of charge. Our aim is just to share tea, and And we've created a dynamic, because obviously the bottom line, you need money to do that. Like, pretending that you don't is silly, or that it can happen without money. Money and earth, there's nothing wrong with those aspects of life. And we've created a really wonderful dynamic system of gift exchange, where through donations we're able to support a free tea center, and some people give more, some people less, and the magazine same. The minimum donation is $20, and that includes shipping, and it comes with a magazine and a tea and a gift every month, and all the teas are organic, which is a huge aspect of our mission, is to promote sustainably produced tea, so that future tea lovers also have tea, because it's good for the earth, it's good for us, it's good for everyone. So that's a huge part of our mission. And you get all this, and of course if you want to donate more, you donate more. But there's nothing like this in the world, where you subscribe for like a magazine, it comes, you get tea, and you're also part of a community now. We're about to release an app that connects everybody, even though they're actually already connecting. If you talk to Global Tea App members, they'll tell you they're going and staying in with other tea lovers and having events and meeting, but we're going to really connect them. And then all the proceeds from this, 100% of the proceeds from this, are building your tea center that you can come visit and take courses and learn for free. So in all directions, it's a win situation. And this is a vision that outlives us too, because we're hoping to build this center in a lasting, permanent way, so that future tea lovers, not so that they have to use it in the way that we use it. I wouldn't want that. Traditions have to grow. They have to adapt and change. Our tradition has changed. As long as the adaptation and the change is coming out of the spirit of the tradition, that's an important part of all life, that it grow and not stay stagnant. In Chinese medicine, all illness is stagnation. So if the system's not moving and growing, then it's not alive. So I want that. And I want to just pass on this center to future tea lovers, and they'll know what to do with it, because they'll drink tea and they'll reach the level, and maybe teas will be different at that time, and they'll understand it, just as tea now is different than it was for my teacher and his teacher. I feel really fortunate, even in the Japanese tradition, that the Chanoyu that we practice is not one of the Senkes. It was preserved in Zen monasteries, and it was a little bit different, because often the guests were not tea people, and so there was a little bit of a need for the host to adapt more often, which is common now in the Senkes too. They have to adapt because of the modern era. It's just part of tea now, and so some of that adaptation can result in really beautiful things, like for example the movement of tea to the Western world. Through myself, and now it's an open world. I have Taiwanese students, I have Chinese students, and that would have been absurd 100 years ago for a Taiwanese to learn Gong Fu tea from a person born in America. But this is a new world, right? This is a world where we can travel, and we can, all of us, we wear German clothes and use Japanese toothpaste and eat Italian pasta for dinner. So this was one of the main missions of my life, was to take some of the traditional brewing methods that have been handed down to me and make them a little bit more accessible without losing any of the spirit. And we've done that, and so it's a lot of people have found a way to enter a tea practice and discover the benefits of it as well. And so there's more and more there brewing tea, I think all over the world, not just America, more and more all over. Maybe Czech's a little special in that it started a little earlier than the rest of the Western world. So you're very lucky. I think there's a lot more here than other places. And what a wonderful thing. That may that continue to grow and flourish. I hope more and more that yourself and others who have some say in the information that is spread amongst that community will more and more realize how important it is to be committed to sustainable organic tea production that is healthy for people, and healthy for the earth, and healthy for the people that grow it too, because it's important to remember that in this unhealthy tea production, the farmers are also the first victims. The number one proponent of organic tea in Taiwan is the number one proponent of organic tea in Taiwan because his father died of pesticide poisoning. And one of his brothers also has cancer. He was the youngest brother, and so he wasn't working on the farm when the pesticides came. Many times the people, the simple farmers, they don't use proper protection. They don't know how to use the pesticides. They're sold bad pesticides, so pesticides that become illegal in America because they're found to be cancerous. The company can't produce them anymore, but then they sell their surplus off to Asia. And so there's a lot of problems in the tea industry, and they're all getting better as people get educated. Look at food. I mean, you yourself, you care more about organics now than you did 10 years ago. You look at packages more, you care more, right? Apply that same care that you do for your food to tea, because it's really important for your own health, the health of your family and loved ones, and for the health of the earth and the farmers, and for future tea lovers, so that 100 years from now, there's still tea culture, and there's still people making videos like this about tea, and not an end of all this, because we used non-sustainable methods to create the abundance that we have now. So this is a issue dear to my heart, and I hope at least on that level, no matter what your approach to tea, as hobby, as beverage, as meditation, as spiritual practice, or whatever you want to call it, as any of that at least we can all meet right there, that we want good tea, and good tea is always healthy and good and in harmony with its environment.